Okay, I'm in South Carolina. Let's look at some of the equipment that I'm putting in. This is a valve system set up to move hydraulic fluid, and these are the hoses. This is the return, and that's the main pump pressure. That little pump right there. That's the actual pump that pumps hydraulic fluid to the different places. Now this is a hydraulic cylinder. Now what that does is that hydraulic oil. That's the cap right there. That's the tank where you put the oil in. But that hydraulic oil gets sent to different places by those valves up there, and that's the tank, and that's the cylinder. That's one of the cylinders. Get this mess out of the way. Yeah. Now we got to put all these cords on all these cylinders up here. All those valves up there. I'm sorry, I said cylinders. I meant valves. And they'll fit on there like that. And then I got to wire them back into the main control cabinet. All right, now this is a pneumatic cylinder. This runs off of air. That little thing right there, that's the diffuser. The air will after it goes up, in order to get back down, the weight of those blocks up there, they're called dogs, believe it or not. They're so heavy they'll push the air back out through those diffusers. See that little brass diffuser right there? Those dogs are so heavy, instead of yanking them back, they can just kind of free fall back, and the air that's in the cylinder will just kind of blow out that diffuser. Now that's the return. You can't have pressure on the whole system at all the time. So that little square thing up there is a directional valve that will let the oil in the lines drain back into the tank, so that relieves some of the pressure in the hydraulic system. Now this is on a cotton press. The cotton will come into one side of that press and tramp until it makes 500 pounds. Then it'll turn. Now those hydraulic cylinders need to know where they're at. They don't have anything inside of them like those pneumatic cylinders. These hydraulic cylinders, you got to know where they go, or where they're at all times, whether it's all the way back or all the way forward. And that's what those little sensors were for. And these are the wires that hook into all those little sensors and all the little stuff that's mounted there. The hydraulic. You got in those pneumatic cylinders up there. See that pneumatic cylinder up there? It's got inside of it, it's got a piston. It's just like a regular piston for anything else. You don't want metal on metal. You have to have rings in there. And there's another pneumatic cylinder right there. That's kind of like a guide. But inside that pneumatic cylinder, it's got rings. It's got rubber O-rings inside of it. Well, in between the O-rings, there's a little magnetic strip that goes all the way around the piston. And if you can see that sensor, there's a sensor on there. That sensor will pick up that little magnetic strip inside that cylinder and let you know where at the cylinder is, if it's all the way extended or retracted. Well, these hydraulics don't have it on there. So those hydraulic cylinders don't have them on there. So we got to use sensors for that. That's what those two sensors were sticking up. It's just a little intro to what we're doing up here. A couple of interesting and odd historical facts on this episode of Shot in Time. Fact number one. Did you know that Napoleon Bonaparte was almost killed by rabbits? Sure was. Back in the heyday, whenever he was enjoying a lot of success, he could get away with just about anything he wanted to. So he conjured up this rabbit hunt, and him and a couple of his generals were going to just go slaughter these rabbits. So they had servants gather up all the rabbits in the land that they could find, and they came back with over 300 of them. And it really wasn't going to be much of a hunt. They were just going to turn them loose and go slaughter the rabbits. Well, when you got 300 rabbits, they're all scared to death. they have a tendency to not know what to do. So when they turned them loose, and Napoleon and his generals, they was fixing to go slaughter these rabbits, the rabbits didn't run away from them, they ran to them. And it freaked the horses out so bad that it threw a couple of the generals. Napoleon, I can't remember, I don't think Napoleon was thrown from his horse, but he was, obviously kind of, in peril a little bit because, the rabbits, this is supposed to be a fun dig there, but it wasn't. The ones that did fall from the horse, they were quickly overtaken by an insanity of rabbits. Nobody died, but man, can you imagine be sitting out there in a little place and have 300 rabbits crawling all over you, all frantic and mad and upset and biting just about anything they can bite? Crazy. If it got thrown from his horse, who knows how history would have changed out, or how it would have turned out. There we go. Fact number 2. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln was a championship wrestler? During his early days, he was a rail splitter. I mean, he had the physique for it, when he was younger. He's 6'4", probably about 220, 225. And, he participated in over 300 matches and won a majority of them. I'm sure he was not only big but strong, and he was probably lean. I don't remember seeing any kind of picture of Abraham Lincoln when he had an ounce of fat on him. Can you imagine him being in the WWF today, hopping off the top rope, Big Abe going to deliver the Emancipation Proclamation elbow? Can you smell what old Honest Abe is cooking? Oh me. I got to thinking about those stories today, and I thought, oh man, I forgot all about those things. Oh, those are cool. Honest Abe, gonna lay the smack down.